Hello and welcome to another episode of NF2 You, a fantastically exciting short series of podcasts where we cover a wide range of topics that affect people living with NF2. Now today I am so excited to be joining by fellow NF2 Kim Webster. Today we're going to be talking about, and I hope I'm getting this pronunciation right, chorionic villus sampling, or CVS for short, which I will be using throughout the entire podcast because it's easier to say. On a serious note for this podcast, we are covering sensitive topics, so there may be some parts of the conversation that can cause distress to some viewers. So please take this moment to consider if it's right for you to continue viewing with us today. That said, this is a lived experience podcast as well, and this is just one person's experience. So welcome, Kim. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So I've got lots of questions, I always do, but one of the things that the first thing I want to cover with you is, how did you first come to hear about CVS?
I'm seen at Guy's Hospital by the team there in London, and when my partner and I started thinking about having children, we got referred to the geneticist who we spoke to, and so he talked us through all of the options that we had in terms of whether it was IVF, conceiving naturally, doing CBS or amniocentesis. I probably said that wrong as well. But yeah, just basically talking through all the different options and talking through the genetics of it as well, because I actually have mosaic NF2. So they estimated that my chance of actually passing on NF2 was 11%. I don't know how they came to that figure, but yeah, so different from someone who has full-blown NF2 with the 50% chance. So my chance was 11%. So yeah, that's how I found out about it, through the hospital, through the team, and through the geneticist.
Well, and forgive me on my naivety because I'm not really experienced in this area at all, but what is CBS?
What is CBS? So it's a procedure that you can have between the 11th and the 14th week of pregnancy, where I think they can do it in two different ways, but the way that I had it is where you get a needle inserted in through your abdomen, and they take a really small sample of cells from the placenta, and then they're able to test those cells for genetic complications or diseases, I guess.
And I mean, it sounds like it's quite an invasive procedure. I mean, is there sort of risks involved? Did your specialist talk you through those risks?
So all up, the procedure only actually took, like, I was on the table for like 10 minutes. It's really quick. They use an ultrasound, so you can actually look at the screen the whole time, so you can see exactly where the needle is going in. I think they did a like, it wasn't painful actually getting the needle in itself, even though it sounds quite full on, but it wasn't that painful at all. But it was actually quite quick. What was painful was waiting for the results, to be honest.
Always the way, isn't it?
Yeah.
And sort of, I think just looking at it from sort of an outside perspective, I mean, it seems like it's quite a risky thing to do, to put a needle through the belly when you're pregnant. Is there risk to go with that, or is it quite a safe procedure? I mean, I assume there's a lot of safety involved.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the NHS website page on it, and this is what I was told at the time as well. So the chance of actually, there is chances of miscarriage and infection. So there's a 1 in 100 chance that you will miscarry with CVS,
Right.
and that you might also get an infection and need to do it again because it wasn't successful. So yeah, there are definitely risks involved, but yeah, I weighed that up and I decided that I wanted to go ahead with it.
And when you, I mean, looking back to before the procedure, what for you made you decide to go down the CVS route rather than say something like IVF?
I think the main thing was that I was told that I had 11% chance of actually passing on the NF2 gene, and to me, that was, yeah, I decided that was a risk I would take, getting pregnant naturally rather than going down the IVF route, because it's a lot. Yeah, I guess, yeah, the decision afterwards though is greater. It's much greater because I weighed up the risk basically of deciding whether I would be able to terminate. And I to be honest, I didn't know. I didn't know. I still never know if I would have been able to. But yeah, I weighed up 11% against having to go through all of the stuff with IVF, and decided that I would take that risk, I guess.
Yeah.
And with my partner, obviously. Don't want me to say that again.
You know, it's an area where people affected by NF2 that's not really immune to difficult decisions. We have to take those in almost every area of our lives, don't you? You know, like if you have a tumour, you're trying to decide, right, do I have surgical intervention now, but it might cause this, or do I have this treatment, it might cause this. So I think as NF2s, we kind of live with risk naturally throughout the whole thing. Obviously, this being, you know, for some a very sensitive subject, you know. And did you go into that process thinking, do you know what, I'll be able to get maybe some support, or was there any counselling or anything like that? Did they offer you anything like that?
No, so I had a lady that was kind of a point of contact, and she talked me through what the process was going, what the process would entail, and but I don't think I ever met her in person. I was over the phone, and then she obviously rang me with the results, and she was really, really amazing. I'm sure if I'd asked for it, I would have had access to further counselling, but I was, I think, because I was relatively, I'd spoken to my partner a lot about it, and we both decided that this was something that we wanted to do, and I felt kind of prepared either way, as much as you can be, for whatever the results would be. So I was okay, but I'm pretty sure, yeah, if someone did decide to go down that route and did need further support, I would hope that it would be available through the NF2 team. Yeah, I imagine it would be. I hope it would be.
Yeah, I think you would strike at such an important point there, because, you know, anytime you go through a process like this, it's so important to have a good support network around you. And it sounds like you've really had that with the team that you had, and particularly with, you know, your partner as well. I mean, when you were both going through this, you know, after you'd been to the NF2 clinic, was it like an immediate referral? Because I know you're at Guy's Hospital anyway, but for other clinics, for people that may be watching in other clinics, Guy's, is that the only place that you can have this done?
I'm not sure, but I imagine the other, because there's four clinics across the country, isn't there? I imagine, because most hospitals would do it, it's not unique to NF2, it's for any kind of genetic condition that you need to find out about. I think they say,
yeah,
they usually do Down syndrome, Edward syndrome, or Pateau syndrome.
Yeah.
They're just the, you know, main ones that they might do it for. But it says if you've had any kind of genetic condition or
Right,
family,
okay.
yeah.
So for the, well, I want to say common procedure, I guess it is for the people that do it, but it's more widely available than, say, IVF, for example.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, it's like literally 30 minutes in and out of the hospital. The actual like getting that done itself is fairly straightforward. But yeah, I guess it's just, yeah, the difference is you don't know what the outcome is going to be, whereas with IVF, you know that they will choose the cells that don't have NF2. So you will definitely have a baby that does not have NF2, whereas with CVS, you're taking the route of getting pregnant naturally, which means there's a chance that the NF2 will be carried on, and then you need to make a difficult decision about that. So, yeah, I guess IVF eliminates that decision, but it's a lot more. Obviously, there's a lot more to it. I don't know. I've never had it, so. But if you do another podcast on IVF, I'm sure that will explain what goes on with that.
We definitely will.
Yeah.
I was curious about the time frame of the whole process, because how you've described the procedure and the appointment, whatnot, it seems like it's actually, not a huge timeline. I mean, how long was it from sort of the first conversation to the finished result?
So I'm trying to remember. Actually, I think it was fairly quick. Like from talking to the geneticist to actually then talking to the kind of the support person and getting it set up was maybe a couple of months. I think it wasn't that long. And then I think waiting for the appointment wasn't that long either. Like maybe weeks to months, a month maybe. And then obviously the procedure itself is really quick. But then it's just, yeah, to get the results was, I think it was a week. So you got initial results saying that there was no, like the kind of the easy bits that they could test. So the Down syndrome part, and then they have to test further for the specific genetic fault, which was the NF2 fault. So I think it got sent to Manchester, and that's where they do the actual, like, the testing of it. So, yeah, I don't remember. This is 7 years ago now. So I should say that, yeah, both, I didn't say it earlier, but both of mine were negative. So I have two boys.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So it was a great success for you then. I mean, it's amazing, isn't it, when you see the results?
Yeah, it was a good result, but it wasn't as a result of CVS. It was just...
You were to say it's sort of the magical age now, isn't it? Where it's a sort of fantasy thinking and stuff, isn't it? I think one of the things that I wanted to ask about was the recovery from the procedure. So I know we talked a little bit about the procedure and what it involves, but did you have any sort of specific recovery afterwards? What was your experience with that?
It was really minimal. I think on the website they talk about maybe some sort of light cramping similar to period type cramping afterwards. But yeah, like really minimal. Like I think I went to work the next day, and I was fine.
And you were fine. I mean, did you get back to work the next day? Was it sort of like, wow?
Yeah.
I think you're a little more resilient than I am. I'd be like, well, I'm taking the excuse to take a whole week off. No, not at all.
So compared to getting that,
I want to touch on about the timelines, because that is significantly faster than I expected that it might be. Did they tell you about that time frame in your very first appointment with the NF2 clinic? Did they explain a lot of it, or did you go in and discuss with the genetic counsellor and they just refer you, and then the referral department explained all to that? Where did you get most of the information is, I think, where I'm going with my point here.
I think would have got it from the support person. So you just kind of get all the medical information from or the genetic information from the geneticist. And then in terms of actual making the referrals, it's like your NF2 specialist. And then the support person kind of contacted me, and once I had my appointment and kind of talked me through what would happen next. But yeah, sorry, it was like 5 years ago now, the most recent experience of it. But it was, yeah, it didn't seem like a long wait. It was quite quick. But I must admit, actually, one thing I would say is the conversation with the geneticist was before I got pregnant. So I knew I was finding out all my options before I became pregnant. And then once I did become pregnant, I knew that was going to be the process that I would follow. So I wouldn't get pregnant and then go and talk to the geneticist, because like you've only got a certain amount of time that you can do it with, like up to 14 weeks.
Yeah.
Where they can do it.
Oh, I see. So, I mean, would you advise having that conversation before you go through the process then of even sort of trying to have a baby? Would you sort of have those conversations way before that process? And while I've got you here, because I want to suck every little bit of information and experience I can from you, any words of wisdom that you can share with anyone watching who may be either considering the process or about to start the process?
I guess at CVS may be more relevant or appropriate or suitable for people that have mosaic NF2, where the risk is much lower than 50%. But again, it's a really, really personal choice about whether, because like you're faced with some really difficult decision once you get the results, because there's probably not much point if you know no matter what you're going to carry on with the pregnancy, then there's not much point getting CVS. Like the sole kind of reason of getting CVS for me anyway was to know whether I'd passed on the NF2 gene or not. So yeah, so it may be more suitable for people who have much lower risk. But yeah, like I said, it's definitely a personal choice. It's just one other option that people have that's a lot less invasive than IVF or what's the other one? Can't remember now. The other one anyway, where they can. I've forgotten it. You probably know it.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm really glad you said that personal experience, because as with everything, everything is so subjective with NF2, and all of our experiences are so subjective. But honestly, Kim, I cannot thank you enough for sharing your experience with us. I'm so sure that people watching have found it incredibly interesting, just insightful to be able to get your experience of what that process is, what's sort of involved with it, the procedure, the process, the timeline, all of it. So thank you so much for coming on the show today and chatting with us. I really, really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right then, well, that's it for today's episode. If you have any questions at all, please get in touch with us. We'll see if we can get those answered for you. In the meantime, head on over to our YouTube channel, click this subscribe button. Also check out our other videos. We've got loads of topics on there now we're building up. We're also coming towards the end of the project as well, which is so grab as many of the videos as you can and enjoy. Take care. Bye.